A stimp meter is a 36-inch aluminum bar with a V-shaped groove. A ball release notch is milled into the bar exactly 30 inches from the end. When the stimp meter is raised to an angle of 21 degrees, the golf ball rolls onto the green.
Let's talk about golf and this tournament going on right now, the Masters, because, yeah, trying to stay ahead of Bubba Watson is a challenge. 7 under for the tournament right now. He's leading it. Let's talk about how weather, wind, temperature all affecting the golf ball. And let's talk about Augusta, because this morning in Augusta, as the first groups were teeing off, it was around 50 degrees, not much wind out there. When the temperature that low, it definitely impacts how far you can hit that ball and how far that ball goes. Say it goes 265 yards. Then this afternoon, even this weekend, temperatures will warm to around 80 degrees. You add 30 degrees, you suddenly add 30 yards to the carry of that ball from your drive. So that's a huge advantage, maybe 2-3 club difference in terms of your approach shot. But it's not just the temperature, the wind also a huge impact on the ball. If you have a 10-mile-per-hour headwind blowing into you as you tee off in that direction, that could knock that same tee shot down by 10 yards. Also, that ball kind of drops out of the sky, not much roll. But if you have a tailwind, that helps to keep that ball trajectory a little bit lower, which means when it finally hits the ground, it tends to roll more. So you automatically get 10 more yards of carry, but that roll can give you perhaps another 10, maybe even 20 yards. So weather, wind, and temperature, huge factors when it comes to perhaps hitting it long or hitting it short, and also your club selection and getting that ball closer to the hole.
And let's talk about some of the racing that's actually going to be going on here in San Diego. It's a very exciting event, America's Cup World Series in the Bay. So you think America's Cup, you think offshore, way out in the ocean, very difficult to see. Well, in this case, we're inside the northern portion of San Diego Bay, where you actually create quite a chessboard when you talk about how complicated this can get. You have the city itself, San Diego, the urban heat island. You also have the maritime effects with the ocean right there. There's North Island, and this is the race course. So if you're anywhere around town, you should be able to see some of the racing that's going on. This, again, those areas right there are specific areas to the America's Cup competition, home base, down near Navy Pier, but anywhere around the edges, including North Island, in play for areas you can actually see what's going on. The dotted lines actually represent the race course boundary. So during racing, the boats can't leave that area without being assessed a penalty. And of course, the boats themselves are their own headline. I could talk about those for hours, but just to kind of narrow it down, you have super fast race machines in very small areas. So kind of a stadium effect as far as watching this in the bay itself. Boats are capable of speeds over 35 miles per hour and have enough power, even in only 10 miles per hour worth of breeze, to pull a wakeboarder. So that should give you an idea how fast they can go. They've been tested within the wind range of say 5 to 35 miles per hour. They've already raced in 20+ mile per hour winds back in Plymouth, UK. We have not quite seen that here in San Diego. Hopefully some big breeze though for the competitors as we finish off the match racing and get into some of the final races this weekend.
You can have a snowflake starting up at the top of the atmosphere, but it can fall into a warmer layer of air. This will melt the snowflake into a raindrop, which can stay as rain for the rest of the time down through the atmosphere. But since cold air is heavier and denser than warm air, there are times that you can have a very shallow layer of below freezing air right at the surface. So the ground and right above it can be below freezing, while the rest of the air above it might not be.